You're going to get a lot of information today in this presentation. So have your notebooks ready. Write down any questions you might have so you don't forget them for later. And in the meantime, write down my phone number so that Ricky don't lose that number. Also, if you have any questions that you would like to ask me at any point. Now, this presentation is not a presentation on how important word of mouth is or why you should do it. You already know this. This presentation is a step-by-step process so that you can start immediately. Now, if you like what you hear at the end, make sure you email me to get the word of mouth marketing checklist. I don't want to give it to everybody unless you want it. So what it does is it has some great ideas to make you part of the conversation. So now, it all starts with a conversation, word of mouth, referrals, things like that. Not just any conversation. It's a conversation that is interesting, engaging, motivational, unexpected, memorable, shareable, you name it, and it should be fun. I got a call from a prominent CPA on the Jersey Shore. He knew who I was, but he didn't know exactly what I did. He said, Dave, I was talking to Franny the other day, and she said I should call you. Now, what you should know about Franny is that she's a PR girl. It seemed that the two of them were chatting about what the CPA was frustrated in. The CPA was frustrated with the social media team, the marketing people, the advertising agency. And that was his frustration. So Franny was talking me up because she knew I wasn't any of those things. She said, Dave's a strategist who has some great ideas fusing traditional and digital marketing, the best of both worlds. And it was her enthusiasm that got him to call me. So now the question I have to ask you here is, wouldn't you want somebody on your team like that, a referral partner that talks about you like that? Well, we met. He hired me because I was the conversation. But it doesn't end there. I wanted to show appreciation and gratitude to Franny. I wanted to become her word of mouth influencer. I knew she always attended a local networking event by me and wanted to give her a public acknowledgement, When it came time for my 30-second pitch, I used it to give a public acknowledgement of how wonderful and generous she was. I then had a gift. It was wrapped with a little bow. And I handed it to the person next to me. Now, this was pre-COVID, obviously. And I could see she was smiling and the serotonin in her was rising. And the serotonin was rising in me too. Now, I asked the person next to me to start passing the gift down to her. The science shows that there's a third person whose serotonin rises also, and that is the viewer of the gift. So everybody who saw the gift and everybody who felt it as it went down also had their serotonin rise. The thing about this, the acknowledgement was unexpected. It was memorable because I had a gift there. And I took a piece of real estate in their mind, unbeknownst to them, that made it shareable. Did you see what Dave did? It also made them feel good about me too. So Franny was the conversation, and so was I. Now, be the conversation. That's what we want. You must position yourself so that you're unexpected, memorable, and shareable. Those three words become the word of mouth conversation. This is how it's done. If you're dependent on referrals and word of mouth for business, and many of us are, you're in the right place today. The statistics show that when somebody talks you up, people listen and they're more inclined to purchase. So there are 3 times when the door opens for a conversation. First, the opportunity presents itself and it triggers a person to share the unexpected and memorable story to a conversation or to social media. This can be something that this person finds interesting or is important information or a personal experience. They are compelled to share it. So I'm going to give you a little story. My wife, Karen, says to me, Dave, we need a new mattress. And I, being the man, said, no, it's only 15 years old. We can still hold on to it, not wanting to spend any money. She says, no, we're going to get a mattress. So that morning, she's online, it's Sunday morning, and she sees an ad online for Sleepy's. And Sleepy's has a sale on mattresses. So we're heading to Sleepy's. But she gets a call. And the call comes in from her girlfriend Michelle. And Michelle says, so what are you guys doing today? And Karen says, well, we're going to go buy a mattress today. We're going to go to Sleepy's, this and that. And Michelle says, oh, we just bought a mattress too. We just bought it from JCPenney. And not only did they have great customer service, but they gave us free delivery, and she went on and on and on. So where did we buy our mattress? Well, JCPenney. Now, to be truthful, we love Michelle, but she's not an expert on bedding or mattresses. But yet we took it. That word of mouth changed it. Sleepy's has spent millions of dollars to get my attention, and one person changed it instantly. So there's hope for all of us, right? The second is when a need is recognized. You are recommended as the solution. This is best explained with the CPA story I just gave you, and Franny, who saw the opportunity to solve the problem by making me the conversation. So the second way is when we recognize something and we personally have some knowledge of somebody and we want to recommend them. Now, the third door is a direct ask by a third party. This person has street cred and tells your story and makes the introduction. An example of this is I ask every human being I meet a thought-provoking question, whether it's professional or personal. Many of you have experienced this with me. This word of mouth technique starts the conversation to identify needs. Because it's unexpected and memorable and shareable, it identifies a need. And it takes place in the mind again with some real estate. So when there is a need, they will remember the conversation because of, well, this example I'm going to give you. There was this woman who is a referral partner of mine. She sends me business regularly, and her name is Karen. Now, Karen sells CBD fluids, not oils, for people who have pets with anxiety. So when I talk to somebody, and some of you have felt this already, I've asked you, I said, do you know anybody who has a dog with anxiety? Now, it's unexpected. It's kind of memorable. And I had asked it to this woman, Jess, her name was Jess, who's a stylist. And she said to me, no, Dave, I don't know anybody. I said, well, this woman, Karen, does this, blah, blah, blah. And I explained it. She didn't need that information. Fine. About 2 weeks later, Jess gives me a call. And she said, Dave, I was just talking to some of my girlfriends, and one of the girlfriends is here, it's Hillary. And she said, one of the girls was talking about how their dog has anxiety. And I thought of exactly what you said. So I'm calling you to get Karen's phone number. So because it was unexpected, it was memorable and easily shareable, a trigger happened and she was able to share it. Now, here it is. There are 3 times when a situation presents itself and the person adds to the conversation is the first one, right? The next one, a need is recognized and you are recommended as the remedy. And lastly, an influencer such as myself or all of us who are referral partners directly makes that conversation, creates that word of mouth environment to become that conversation. So now you're probably saying, all right, Dave, how do we do this? Well, I've been talking about it the entire time. There are 3 strategies to craft a word of mouth conversation. Be unexpected. People love a surprise or a twist, and don't you? Especially if you don't see it coming. Can you be unexpected? Can your story or service be reframed and retold to be memorable and shareable? My good friend Steve can do this. Does it have the wow factor? Now, you may be saying, Dave, how do I do this? Well, one of the techniques that you can do is go totally ridiculous and then scale it back 1 step. Then be genuine and authentic when communicating it. So I'll give you an example. I have what I believe close friends who are in the legal practices. Progity is one of them. And I have prospects who are attorneys, who are prospects, who one day I hope to do some marketing for. But in November, there is a day called Love Your Attorney Day. And not many people know about that. So I send all my attorneys and even my prospects a card. Now, some of you know that I was an illustrator and graphic designer in my younger years, so I take great pride in creativity. So the front of the card is always interesting or something they want to hang up, something that really lands it. It's a little unexpected. But in it, I tell them, and I truly mean this, I'm genuine, that I appreciate what they do for all of us. They protect us. They make sure that we seek the justice or have certain things, terms in our contracts. And so I appreciate it. And always, always, I get a call or an email from them saying, thank you, Dave. Thank you for appreciating what I do. I don't hear it. I don't hear it enough. So was I unexpected? Yes. Was I memorable? Yes. And it was shareable. So when you hear, do you know anybody who has a dog with anxiety? You know what I mean. So now let's jump right to being memorable. People remember with their feelings. Now, remember, I'm not a therapist or psychologist, right? But I think all of you would agree, our feelings dictate that. So how do you make them feel? If you can invoke an emotion with your message or story, whether it makes them laugh or cry or even gets them angry, right? Or smile, your message is more likely to take a piece of that real estate I've been talking about under mind and be easily recalled when triggered, when that conversation happens. Like, I know somebody who can help you. Oh, I know this, I can share this. The example I like to give is when I directly wanted a friend. I had a friend who had this message I wanted to get out. I wanted to be that word of mouth. And so I created an opportunity. Somebody said to me, now this particular friend is an attorney, right? Not the friend, I'm sorry. The friend was looking for attorneys to work with, right? So we crafted the question. And the question is this: do you know any attorneys who cry Sunday evenings? Which means Monday they don't want to go in. Well, this professional, this woman actually helps attorneys get promotions, get partnerships, or move themselves out of practices, whatever they did. But because I asked that question deliberately, and because it's a little unexpected, it becomes memorable. And sometimes they say, yeah, I know some attorneys who cry on Sunday evenings, So I do this because I care about this referral partner, this person, and I deliberately ask almost every human being I come across. Now, the third part, be shareable. To be shareable must be easy to distribute, whether it's a conversation, a one-on-one you have with somebody, or if it's social media, pressing that button to share. We have to make it easy for them to do it. To lead an audience to share, it must incite something in their hearts and their minds that motivates them to get the word in. Now, we all know somebody who wants to be the first to tell you something. Well, that's an influencer you need to get in front of, because if you can help them share something, they're going to go ahead and tell the world. Now, you also have the people who are more quiet and set back, but they'll still share. Oh, yeah, I have something to share about that. And then there are people that will never share, and they could be your best friends. They just don't do it. So we need to find those people who are already sharing when doing it. And it has to be simple enough and easy enough that when they hear a trigger or a circumstance that is presented, they automatically respond, to the audience and tell them the tale that you have shared with them. So now that is the 3 key strategies. What I'm going to set up next is what we call the word of mouth techniques. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these, but I'll tell you this much. If you remember somebody's name, people will remember you, right? These are simple things, because sometimes it's on a personal level. It's not about the product you're serving. The other thing is telling the story, right? Again, I go back to our good friend Steve here. He is the storyteller, and he has helped me tell stories better. And so I'm very appreciative of that. And because stories are so important and it invokes some emotion, it's remembered. Sending a card. I'm a big card sender. I know how important that is. Show that you're enjoying their conversation. And it goes on. And there's more. But you got to find the one that works best for you when you do this type of work. Now, I'll tell you what I'm looking for, and this is not a pitch, guys. This is because it's about word of mouth. I want to find individuals, if you know individuals who want to be part of the conversation. I want to work with them to craft that unexpected, memorable conversation. And that's really important. You have to craft it. Spend the time to really craft something. And then, of course, you test it, right? You put it out there and you see if people are responding, all right? It's not hard to do. It's not. I want to make them the topic of conversations, right? I want people, to be motivated to chat them up in a genuine manner, right? And we have to discover those people who do that, right? There are certain people, those people that will talk about you all the time, or who are in front of the right people who genuinely want to help you out and want to get the word out about you. I go and I talk about this again and again. I want to occupy a piece of your mind. I want to be there. Now, you don't know that you're carrying it, but when a situation comes or a trigger happens or a conversation is started, you immediately have something to share. So this is why that's important, is that if it's unique, if it's unexpected, if it's memorable, it will have a place in your mind for years on years, okay? And lastly, these techniques will help you differentiate you from the rest. And guess what? Nobody can borrow it because you own it. So here we go. If you have to take a picture of this, please take a picture of this or take the phone number down. I always welcome conversations. I'm always around if you need that. And please don't forget, if you'd like to go ahead and get that checklist, email me because I don't spam anybody. I just think it could be helpful. So listen, thank you for your time. If there are any questions, I'll be glad to take them.